So by this time, everyone should have this new YouTube layout, which means who really knows how many people are going to be able to watch this video and have it in their subscription feed today. To get purely uploads on your main page, it's not such an easy task to do, and while people are saying they absolutely hate this new layout, this is the only criticism I have of it right now. Of course, I want to grow to like it because really everyone does. The layout that we used to have like a few days ago, everyone hated it at first, but I doubt 75% of those people can not remember how the layout looked before that. Anyway, I have a Monotype battle today. I'm using Psychic and my opponent, RetroMushroom, is using a Dragon type with all of those big threats. RetroMushroom is also known as Cool Trainer T, who is also a PMP director, but he lost his old YouTube account, so I would appreciate if you guys would subscribe to this guy if you were subscribed to his old YouTube account, Cool Trainer T, in the past. He's a really cool guy. He smashed me in a UU match before this, and I'm like, let's have another match. We were both bored. I'm like, Monotype, and he's like, yeah, sure. So I had this team right here. I found it had pretty good synergy. I just put like a couple Pokemon together. I have a Choice Banded user. I have a Choice Specs user, both of them being the Gallade and the Starmie appropriately. I'm going to lead off with this Metagross though because I do have the rocks in it. I figured I can try to get it up, and I see this guy, he's going to lead up with the Hydreigon. I'm thinking if he wanted to attack me, he would go for the Fire Blast, and I am running a pretty bulky Metagross, so I would figure I would just stay in, probably take the Fire Blast and go for the Meteor Mash, which would be ×2 super effective against him. Instead, he's going to go into his Latias, and he's going to go for the Reflect right here. I was not afraid of any move he would go for on his Latias, so I figured I can get up my rocks at this point and see and kind of gauge what kind of set he is. I do see the Reflect right here, so I'm kind of thinking he's more of a defensive type, although most Latiases are defensive. He probably isn't the calm mindset is what I'm saying. But I see he's going to go into his Salamence right here, and he's going to try to intimidate me, and my Clear Body is like, no man, think again. I am going to go into my Celebi right here because I was thinking if I want to perhaps get this Latias out of the way and to be less of a nuisance, I can go for the Thunder Wave on it. But as you see, it was a double switch. I have my Celebi against his Salamence. Now his Salamence had the Intimidate, which originally I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. But then you see this Wish right here, and it makes sense because usually when you think of Salamence as being an offensive variant, they're usually carrying the Moxie ability because it's just more beneficial to them. But with Intimidate, this guy is obviously probably his physically defensive Pokemon, while his Latias is his specially defensive Pokemon. I have my Starmie right here. I knew he was going to switch out with his Salamence, so I'm just going to go for the trick. Actually getting this Kyurem's Choice Scarf as I gave him the Choice Specs, which is great because I originally thought this guy was going to be more of a mixed attacker when I saw the Choice Scarf, but I guess its move pool doesn't really suit that, and I'm going to go into my sideboard because I am more physically defensive than specially, so I thought I would be able to take any hit that this guy wants to lock himself into, especially a Dragon type move. Unfortunately, he's going to get a crit with that Fusion Bolt, but it means I will be able to survive another one, so I am going to stay in here, and I'm just going to attack him. But I realize with my Starmie, I will be able to outspeed all of his Pokemon, and barring his Kyurem, the Ice Beam that my Starmie has, will be able to do super effective damage to all of his Pokemon. So what I plan to do is use my Starmie as frequently as possible, but I do not want to take HP unless purely necessary. Anyway, he's going to bring his Garchomp in here. I'm going to go for the Bullet Punch with my Metagross because I knew the combination of my Metagross's Bullet Punch and the Shadow Sneak of my Gallade would be able to take out this Garchomp, predicting him to be Choice Scarf because I didn't see an item on him before. And the only other way I can take out a Choice Scarf Garchomp at this point would be my Starmie. And like I said before, I do not want to lock myself into Ice Beam with my Starmie and then allowing him the chance to go into his Kyurem, which he would be able to take a hit and then either attack my Starmie really hard, or pretty much I would have to Death Fodder another Pokemon. So the situation occurs that now I have my Gallade in here, which is Choice Scarfed, but the Intimidate is going to lower my attack significantly. I'm going to have to switch out at this point. I'm going to go into my Celebi, not really predicting much, but I know I should be able to take at least one hit, and then perhaps go for the Thunder Wave. He's going to bring his Latias in here, and we already saw that he put up a screen before being the Reflect. I'm thinking he has both the Reflect and the Light Screen, and I figured no matter what, even if I go for the U-turn, he will be able to get up at least one barrier before I switch out. So I might as well cripple him because that's going to be beneficial to a lot of my other Pokemon to outspeed him. Perhaps not just my Starmie, but maybe my Gallade, which I am going to U-turn into. I was originally predicting him to go for the Light Screen next turn, but as I do switch into my Gallade, we aren't really sure what he's going to go for because he does get paralyzed. Thankfully, I am going to easily outspeed him, and I do have the Ice Punch, which is ×2 super effective, and I do have the Choice Band, so despite him having the Reflective, it kind of nullifies much of the boost that I'm getting from this Ice Punch, and as you're going to see, it doesn't really look to be like a 2 KO from the range of HP that he was just at. And Additionally, he's going to go for the Dragon Pulse, which isn't going to do too much, but I realized that I really do not want to take too much damage with my Gallade, knowing that he has the only priority attack on this team right now, knowing that my Metagross is dead. So I'm going to go into my Alakazam. I was thinking that he would go for the Recover this turn if he didn't get paralyzed. Unfortunately, he's going to go for the Dragon Pulse, which is going to break my Sash, but it looks like I might be able to survive another one, so I am going to stay in here, and I'm going to go for the Hidden Power. I knew I would go for the Hidden Power over the Shadow Ball, because although Shadow Ball would do more to his Latias, I knew the Hidden Power would be able to hit this Hydreigon super effective, predicting him to come in because the Shadow Ball really wouldn't do too much. Now, the thing that he came in on the what's it called, my Alakazam kind of tells me he's Scarf, so I want to see what move he's going to lock himself into. I really just wanted to Death Fodder my Celebi at this point. I thought he would go for the U-turn, which to a Celebi would be ×4 super effective. Instead, he's going to lock himself into the Dark Pulse, clearly 2-KOing me, but I'm not too concerned about that because at this point I will be able to bring my Starmie, and I need to take out this Hydreigon. As a Scarf Pokemon, the only Pokemon that I can outspeed it with is my own Starmie. So I am going to come in, I'm just going to go for the Ice Beam, kind of contradicting the fact that I didn't want to do this before because I knew this Kyurem could come in and take it pretty well. Interestingly enough, he's not going to Death Fodder his Hydreigon at this point, but he's going to take the Ice Beam pretty well with his Kyurem. I am going to go into my Latias, not really sure what he's going to do. I'm surprised he went for the Fusion Bolt at this turn and not the Dragon type move. As you see, like the teams that both of us are using aren't necessarily like completely walling each other, but this is kind of the point of Monotype. I thought it's a lot of fun that it's a little bit different from OU when you see the same like 10 or so Pokemon. There's clearly some differentiation in our teams, obviously because we're using different types. And for example, I can be using a Psychic type and my opponent can be using a Grass type or something, and they can perhaps never be really one benefits over the other completely. At the other hand, one person could bring a Water type, other one can bring a Fire type, so it's really all luck. Anyway, I'm going to go for the Protect right here, seeing that he wants to indeed lock himself into the Dragon type move. And I was thinking, you know, if I'm able to survive this Draco Meteor with around 20% HP, the Protect would be worth it because the only thing that he just lost is like a PP in his Draco Meteor. So anyway, he is going to go for next turn, obviously outspeeding me, and he'll be able to take me out. But now he has -2 special attack at this point, so I'm thinking at the range of HP he is at, I can go into my Gallade and go for the Shadow Sneak. The only Pokemon I'm really fearing at this point is this Salamence, which he's going to bring in, because as you're going to see after the Intimidate, you're going to see how little my Shadow Sneak is going to do to this Salamence, proving that he's definitely physically defensive. He takes that like absolutely well. I think his leftovers completely negates all the HP that I just did to him. So I'm going to have to switch out. I'm predicting him at this point to go for the Wish and maybe the Protect. Instead, he's going to go for the Flamethrower. Interestingly, I could have actually gone into my Starmie and taken less damage at this point, but with my Alakazam, I'm going to be able to outspeed him. And once again, I'm going to go for the HP Ice because it will hit all of his Pokemon at least neutrally. Of course, he still has that annoying Kyurem in here, but he's going to bring in his Hydreigon finally as Death Fodder, which is great because I'm finally able to take that guy out. Now he's going to bring in his Haxorus, which I was waiting to see what item he has. Originally looking at his team, I'm like, well, you're a Dragon Dancer and you're a Dragon Dancer, but when I saw his Salamence and he was not a Dragon Dancing moveset, I definitely thought this Haxorus was, so I was not afraid of him being a Choice Scarf Pokemon. I'm going to go for the Hidden Power, which is not able to take him out, but after the Earthquake, I have a pretty set game plan for the remainder parts of the battle. I am going to go into my Gallade at this point and go for the Shadow Sneak. With the Shadow Sneak, it should obviously be enough to take out this Haxorus right here, and the next turn I want to bring in my Starmie as he brings in his Salamence. Hopefully I will be able to predict him to go for the Wish, and no matter what, if he wants to pass the Wish onto his Kyurem, or he wants to stay in here and go for the Protect, as I bring in my Starmie and lock myself into Ice Beam, it should be a good game at this point, because if he wanted to switch out after going for the Wish right here, which he doesn't, he would die to the Stealth Rocks and not get the Intimidate drop on my Gallade. And from the range his Kyurem was at after the Wish damage, I'm pretty sure 2 hits from my Gallade's Shadow Sneak would be able to take him out. Instead, he has his last Pokemon in here right now, confusingly enough. I know that was just, you know, a mindset that I had what could possibly happen. He's going to bring his Kyurem. I'm going to go for the Ice Beam outspeeding him because I took his Choice Scarf. He's going to live with a sliver of health, but after taking out my second to last Pokemon with a Fusion Bolt, I will be able to bring in my Gallade next turn and finish him off with a Shadow Sneak, leaving me with a very close 1-0 victory, and I thought this was a really fun battle. I hope you guys did too. If you guys did enjoy it, please leave a like, comment down below, and check out both of our channels. Cool Trainer T is a really cool guy, of course now known as RetroMushroom. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Rate, comment, subscribe, and as always, take care.